What's going on, everyone? So I really like Jaxson Hayes, right? He is a guy that comes in, gives you 110% effort, game in and game out, high energy, good effort, right? Willing to do whatever is asked of him out on the basketball court. You need that guy, all right? You need a guy that's willing to come in. He's going to play hard. He's going to run the floor. He's going to do the things necessary. But if we're being honest, Jaxson Hayes, as your primary big outside of Anthony Davis, he isn't it. He isn't it. I like Jaxson Hayes again. If he was our third center, perfect. Right? Him as a third big who's coming in, playing in spots. On any given night, AD gets the night off or something. Jaxson Hayes gets 20, 25 minutes. Perfect. But him as your primary big is a problem. Now, I do like what he's capable of doing, particularly with the new offense that we're running, right? His athleticism and his quickness at the center spot is very valuable in a lot of ways because he's constantly a lob threat, can put him in all kinds of pick and roll actions. Once he's up in the air, he's usually flushing it. So that's good, right? There is a value in Jaxson Hayes, but everything else is concerning, right? Like, you really need to put him in position to be majorly successful for the Lakers. Now, can he have that outlier game randomly here and there? Sure, right? Like, for example, you look at that Celtics game last year. He was a huge reason why the Lakers were able to beat the Celtics without Anthony Davis and without LeBron James. And it was a huge upset on the season. We were all excited. We were all pumped. Rebounding, he has actually been rebounding better, and that was one of the key things he talked about, how he wants to rebound better. He wants to be a better rebounder this year. But everything else he's talked about that he wanted to improve on and look better at this season, he just really hasn't, right? Defending without fouling, he's still struggling. He's still lacking the discipline, going straight up. He's still getting called on occasion for the setting the screen and moving, right? Moving screens have been a big issue for Jaxson Hayes. He's good in certain areas. And I do think JJ Redick is going to get the most out of Jaxson Hayes. And I think that the Lakers in general get the most out of Jaxson Hayes as possible. But as your primary big, I just think that's a problem. I think once Christian Wood is healthy, he'll be on most nights your main big. And I talked about this even before the season began, even before preseason, that when I was talking about kind of the rotations, or like even when people would ask me on live streams or whatever about the rotation, talked about like I would go with Christian Wood, right? Essentially, your guys are obviously D'Lo, Reeves, Rui, LeBron, AD. Then you go Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, Jared Vanderbilt, and Dalton Connect, right? And kind of split minutes for them at times. I think Vander will kind of be an assignment guy this year, like a specialty guy this year for the Lakers. But you got that, and then as far as like the big man that we're going to play, I think it'll be Christian Wood. Kind of have him versatile at the 4, have him versatile at the 5, and then on occasion Jaxson Hayes. But I just think Anthony Davis obviously is going to be your starting center. Beyond Anthony Davis being your starting center, I do think you will get some minutes with Hayes and Anthony Davis. Hayes alongside AD looks good at times, but it's because of how good Anthony Davis is, how much attention Anthony Davis draws, and how good he is as the help defender. So Jaxson Hayes isn't as big of a liability, right? Like, you slot pretty much anybody next to Anthony Davis, right? Anthony Davis is probably making them look better than they are, right? Same thing with Christian Wood. If you slot Christian Wood alongside Anthony Davis, Christian Wood's going to look a lot better than he is, particularly on the defensive side. But I just think Christian Wood, especially with the type of offense we're running, just gives you so much more value. His ability to not just be a roll man, but be the pick and pop, especially when teams go into drop coverage, right? That's kind of a big advantage that you get in that. Also, his ability to stretch the floor, knock down the 3, pull out bigs, all that stuff. He's just so much more versatile on the offensive side of things. Now, he doesn't have the insane athleticism that Jaxson Hayes has, but it's fine, right? He just gives you so much more. Defensively, his ability to switch and defend out on the perimeter, as well as he's not a great rim protector when he's on an island, but when he's like when you're able to funnel the offensive player into him, he is good at kind of being the help defender and cleaning things up, right? So, having Christian Wood out there, slotting him alongside Anthony Davis, you just get so much more versatility on the offensive side. You're still going to be good defensively between those two. It's relative, but you get my point, right? Like, I think Christian Wood is the right answer. That doesn't mean you don't ever have to play Jaxson Hayes, but I think you're playing him in a very limited role, right? I think you're playing him with very specific units out there. I think you're playing him in very specific matchups, right? Like, if you're playing, say say you're playing Memphis, right? And they got Triple J and Edey out there. You might want to throw a Jaxson Hayes in there just for the length and stuff. Obviously, physicality-wise, he's getting ate up by Edey, but just to have that real length, the athleticism to hopefully at least bother some and disrupt the shot, that could be better than like a Christian Wood who he doesn't have the size and the length, and on top of that, right, he just doesn't have the athleticism to bother him. Right, certain matchups, you're probably going that route, but overall, again, like, and it's nothing, like, I like Jaxson Hayes. I do. I think what he does and what he provides still has value on this team. I just think, again, as your primary big, no. He's still only 24 years old, so there's still plenty of room for growth, potential, upside, right? Like, you could still develop him for a year or two and see where he's at. Like, I'm not saying you have to give up on him entirely. I mean, but again, he's got to be your third big, right? And Christian Wood is probably best at the power forward position than he is at the center position. So you're kind of, again, it defaults to like the Lakers really need that center. Now, if they could go get a Walker Kessler or even a Clint Capella or a Nick Richards, somebody like that, right? Then now I think Jaxson Hayes adds more value, right? Because again, now you have that primary center, and you can throw Jaxson Hayes out there at times in spots for 12 to 15 minutes on any given night. And again, you'll have the occasional night where, hey, Hayes, you're getting, 30 minutes tonight because AD's got the night off. Or let's say it's Walker Kessler, right? Like, Walker Kessler has the night off. So we need you to step in a pinch and provide some play, right? Like, and he's capable of doing that. And then on the random nights where he's just cooking out there and he's gobbling everything up and he's able to just slam it home with regularity, like that'd be good. Right? Him being a guy that you can count on game in and game out to give you 25 minutes a game at the center spot, I just don't think he's that. I was hoping to see a little improvement. Again, he has been rebounding better. I will give him that. There's good in Jaxson. Like, I don't want to sound like, he's completely useless, because he's not, right? Like, again, him as a floor running big, right? You look at guys like Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford and what they did for the Dallas Mavericks, right? Jaxson Hayes can give you a version of that, right? He doesn't give you everything that those two guys give you, because those two guys are just better, and they just do more outside of just being that athletic lob threat, particularly on the defensive side of things. Although Jaxson Hayes is, and it has been good. He wasn't so much last year, but he has been good in previous years at defending the pick and roll. But the issue is that, like, he gives you a version of Lively and Gafford rather than what Gafford and Lively give you, right? Like, he is 40% of that, which as your third big is fine, right? Because there are times where you might want to push the pace a little bit, right? And you want a floor running big in Jaxson Hayes, and you want him to be able to just get out there and be the first big down the court, right? Him and his athleticism, running some pick and roll, having him as a lob there, especially with all the movement, all the actions you get and are creating with JJ Redick and his offensive system, how good that has looked. There's opportunity there for Jaxson Hayes to go get you, 8 to 10 points a game, right? But what else can he provide is the question. Now, if he can give you 8 rebounds a game or 10 rebounds a game and give you 10 to 12 points within the flow of the offense, then yeah, he's gonna have some value. But you're still running risks. I still would prefer him as the third big. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Think like, yeah, he's not there for the second big. Look, I get it's only been 2 preseason games. I should also preference this too. I probably should have said this earlier. I get it's been 2 preseason games, so it's like, how much can you judge guys, whatnot. But you're seeing the same Jaxson Hayes you saw last year. Right? You're not seeing all of a sudden a new bag. Like, oh man, he developed this crossover. He's really stretched the floor nicely. No, literally the same Jaxson Hayes he's been since the day he was drafted. He still is. There hasn't been this significant improvement. There hasn't been this real stride. He is just an athletic 7-footer that, if you, again, put in the right spots, can be impactful, can be good. Right? I'm not saying get rid of this guy on the first opportunity you have. I have no problems keeping him. I've even said I don't mind keeping him long-term as a guy that you can continue to grow and develop. Right? Well, now they got Christian Coloco, so that's probably not going to, this is probably Jaxson Hayes' last year with the Lakers, but still, he has his value. It's just, he's not really what this Lakers team needs. Right? And he's not so elite at what he does that it's like, it's okay. He's so good at just, again, if he was, you look at Derek Lively. If he was Derek Lively, it's like, nah, he's just like that. You can get away with that. You kind of live with the cons, right? Jaxson Hayes isn't that. Like I said, he's a version, a percent of that. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.